Hi, everybody. Welcome to What You Need to Know. It is Tuesday, and Tuesday with Damon, as I like to call it. It is already, I said this last night, Damon, that just with the weekend's news and yesterday's news, it felt like a Wednesday or Thursday. Tuesdays are always long, and I'm always a little off kilter anyway, but this is it's just a lot, Damon. How are you?
I'm good, but the question is, what's your Monday nights like with your Tuesday being off?
Well, they're really interesting because I get up and do a radio hit with Erica Campbell
Okay,
and Griff on Tuesday mornings. And so it's about 6 or 7 in the morning. So I try to go to bed a little bit earlier so that I can, but we had storms last night and the power went off. And so then I was kind of trepidatious about falling back asleep because I didn't want to miss the alarm and stuff like that.
right.
So and then when I was able to go back to sleep after I did Eric and Griff, then I oversleep and then I'm running behind schedule all day. I
Trust
wish
me,
that my Monday night was really. I wish my Monday night was exciting the way you have implied.
I
So
get it.
yeah, I know you do. I know you do these early mornings, and sometimes you don't regret leaving morning radio. So here's what's happening in the news, Damon. These are the things that are as we speak kind of deal. Um, let's talk about this pause that the FDA and the CDC have called on this Johnson and Johnson vaccine. This particular vaccine, which some of us have looked askance at anyway, because it is Johnson and Johnson. This particular one-shot vaccine, you didn't need a second jab, as they call it. The Johnson and Johnson vaccine has created some problems and medical problems for women, especially women who've been affected by a particular type of blood clot.
Mm.
And it's a variety of ages. It's from 18 to 48. These women who have been affected by it. And so they're asking them to pause on this. And this is on top of having a problem at their Baltimore plant, right? A couple of weeks ago regarding the way that the vaccine was put together. So how do you feel about this pause and should we take it off the market altogether?
Once you get to pause, you might as well stop because
Yeah.
black people, especially, were already skeptical about this whole thing. And then the conspiracy theorists now have information. And for those of us who have taken the shot, which I took Pfizer and had no problems on either one, my whole family's been vaccinated through Pfizer. I heard Moderna had more, like on the second shot, some people had flu-like symptoms and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think, Johnson & Johnson might be a wrap for them because they already got, the baby powder issue.
Yeah.
And we as a people don't trust it. So if they trying to distribute that in the hood, they can forget about it. And I feel
Right.
bad because now, because everybody, we all got that feeling like, man, I ain't taking that mess. You put that in your body, blah, blah, blah. So now they're going to be at me like, see, I told you.
Mm-hmm.
In a minute, it's going to be a commercial. If you took these complications, blah, blah, blah. So,
Right, more complications than what the thing is supposed to do anyway. What
right.
the medicine is supposed to do. If you have these, and so they are telling people like if you have pain in your abdomen, if you have severe headaches, if you have leg pain or these kinds of things, please call your doctor immediately if you've had the vaccination, the Johnson and Johnson vaccination within the last 2 weeks. They say that this is for people who may be experiencing these same things and they want to be on the lookout for these blood clots because they are serious and dangerous. Obviously,
And
blood clots
yeah,
and
and they
beyond.
came out, with trying to be different. Everybody else had two shots. They want to try to get it
Yeah.
all together in one. You know, they should have done double. They Johnson and Johnson. They should have had two shots.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They got two
Exactly.
names.
Right now, one for Johnson, the other for this is Tiffany on Facebook. My doctor advised me last month not to take Johnson and Johnson because of allergic reactions. That's
Mm.
interesting, Tiffany. And so I'm assuming that she took her doctor's advice. And I'm wondering, Tiffany, if you could, shoot us back a message. Which one did you take, and were there any aftershocks from that one that you took? In that you didn't have any kind of reactions whatsoever with your Pfizer, huh?
Yeah, nobody in my family, nobody I know that took Pfizer had reactions, and it's very interesting that it's even to this point. Oh, it was something I wanted to tell you right now. I forgot. Well, I was about to tell you something.
Okay.
Anyway, but yeah,
No,
we took the
continue.
Johnson and Johnson, and
You
the
took
Pfizer.
Pfizer.
I
Yeah.
took Pfizer, and so far so good. Plus, I trust Pfizer because they came out with the Viagra, so that's a miracle drug. If you're gonna be in the jab business, you might as well be erect.
All right, Mr. Williams, I see that you have taken your vaccine. Tiffany, Tiffany said, yeah, she took Pfizer with no reactions whatsoever. So good for you guys. But please be careful and do contact your doctor if you have any
Oh,
questions. Or
that's what I want. I remember my thought now. I
Yes.
don't think they do enough screening questions when you get your vaccine. Like you're not with the doctors. Like it's just like techs or nurses maybe, and so they don't know if you have any type of pre-existing situation. So I think we kind of all rushed in there trying out of the fear factor, but it really needs to be more screening. The questionnaire is not intensive enough. Like, do you have allergies? Do you don't know if you're allergic, you don't know what's in this vaccine. So that's it's tricky.
It is, and this is something, now that we look back on it, and now that millions of people have taken the vaccine, and we're looking back on, hey, that was, and children who have been vaccinated who are below the age range that they have suggested thus far, all of these things are playing a part in us looking back and having more questions, right?
Exactly. So, well, we are all walking case studies. So hopefully
Yeah.
in 5 years, none of us have extra limbs or lose one.
Yeah, let us pray on that. Let us pray that we don't end up losing or adding an extra, although for some people that might be a good thing.
Hey, especially if it's Pfizer.
Okay. Ding. I want to give, this is a sad part of the show as we talk about the topical news, things that are at the top of our news feeds these days. This came out this afternoon that the officer who shot Jacob Blake in Kenosha, Wisconsin, will not face discipline, according to the police chief. This is Officer Rustin Shesky, has returned from administrative leave after an investigation by an outside agency found him to be acting within department policy. Of course, Jacob Blake was the Black man who was shot in August by this officer Shesky. The Black man was paralyzed from the waist down after the shooting, and Shesky has returned to work, will not face any discipline, and returned in late March. So he's already been back at the job for a couple of weeks. Is found to have been acting within policy and will not be subjected to any discipline. The determination was made from this outside agency. So, and this is a situation that spawned other violent acts, as we know about the kid from Illinois who went up there to help the people of Wisconsin, and he ended up killing at his young age. And so that case still remains. But at this juncture, Jacob Blake, anything that happens that he gets any benefit from this or any kind of lawsuit will be one of a civil case, it looks like, huh, Damon?
Yeah, and that's unfortunate. I mean, it's just a tough scenario out here. But these police officers have to realize that if somebody doesn't obey your order, that you're not the executioner. You're not to impose a sentence out here, and they're too quick to grab even a taser or it's like comply with me. And I understand, but they got to understand that the world is changing, and we're not just adhering to police orders, based on the fact that we feel like we're free individuals. Not to mention a lot of fear factor of people don't want to, respect officers because they don't know what their intent is. So it's a tough time. I mean, it's a bad time to be a police officer, but it's even worse to be a Black man, especially.
As we have seen, just as of the day before yesterday. And speaking of which, talking about the Daunte Wright shooting and murder by this police department in Minnesota, in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, which an interesting name, but that's neither here nor there. The policewoman who shot and killed Daunte Wright, she submitted her resignation today, as did the chief of police, who was speaking at the press conference yesterday. He resigned, the policewoman resigned, and there were questions, Damon, about this woman who is a 26-year veteran. She is president of their local police union, and she has also consulted with other police officers in other cases. So she knows the routine and what you should and should not say. So she resigned right away instead of waiting to be fired, which is what the young mayor, Mike Elliott, said that he wanted to happen. There's so much to unpack from this, but one of the questions, did they make Kim Potter take a drug test after that fatal shooting? Good question. We don't know. At least I have not seen anything. I tried to follow with the press conferences and everything that happened yesterday and today. And today the question was raised, Damon, about her resigning instead of being fired, and how will this affect if she goes for another police job in position in another city or in another part of the country. She is, as I said, she's 26 years on the job. She knows how this goes. She has guided other officers who have been in situations and perhaps rushed to resign, knowing that this would help her case, or at least her case in terms of finding another job in the future. And so other people are also asking, will she, can they still fire her even after she has resigned?
That'd be like Ice Cube getting fired on his day off and Friday. It also begs the question that if with 26 years in, if she was eligible for a pension, that she might be resigning to protect. And, you know, it's like I said, this is just, we don't know where we're going with this and where this is going to lead to as far as social justice in America, and how, when will Black people be valued as regular citizens, as valuable enough not to be executed on sight? And how the hell do you confuse a taser with a handgun? Even if it's, first of all, they're supposed to be on different sides of your body, I was told. Also, the weight of it. So in the heat of the moment, you either reach for your taser or you're reaching for your weapon. But so if you're nervous, regardless, once you grab, you should have felt the weight of it and know the difference, especially if you've been on the force for 26 years. 26
so
years. That's a line of excuse.
Yeah, that really is. And also, you have that kind of time on the job. And this was my initial question. You knew who this kid was. You knew where he lived. You had all of his information. If he's jumping out and going, just go and get him later. That was the same thing, you know, in so many different cases that we've had. They had the information on him. You can go and get him later if he's going to try to run away. I just think. Yeah,
especially if it's not a violent offender, or even if it was a previously violent offender. If the act that they're pulling you over for now is not a violent offense, you should treat it as the penalty should not match, or should match the crimes. In other words, a gun should never even come out in a situation where you stopping somebody for expired plates and some air fresheners. It should never escalate to that point.
Okay, Damon, it is time for us to go to our trending video. And I want you to take a look at this and see if this reminds you. I think it reminds a lot of us of new school grandmas.
Hurry up. It's hot in here. You got grandma hot in the back. Tell her. No, I ain't telling her.
Tell me what?
Huh?
Tell me what?
Oh, I was going to tell you earlier, grandma, but we kind of got kicked out. And we was wondering if we can just stay here for a couple weeks. TikTok ain't been, huh?
That don't sound good.
What? Come on, grandma. I'm your grandson. Just a couple weeks until we get back on our feet.
No, I can't. I got Boo coming by.
Who?
Boo.
Who is Boo?
My Boo.
So what? What? Come on, she ain't tripping.
Man.
She gonna let it. What? A man?
A man coming by.
So what they got to do with us? Me and We's gonna be in the basement?
No. I be playing all over the house. I'm all over. I don't be just in no room.
All right, grandma. You ain't got to. Okay. Oh. We don't.
So she be all over the house, David.
and what she could have done, well, that's one way. Once you do let somebody stay with you that you trying to get out, is play all over the house and play loud. That's the last thing a child or a grandchild wants to hear. Is with that voice too. She got that Newport voice. Don't nobody want to hear, oh, Charles. Oh, you hit my spot, Charles. do that around the house. They'll figure out someplace else to stay.
They will find a place to go, won't they? Won't they?
Oh, you hit my spot, baby. Lick it for you stick it. We
Okay,
out, Granny.
Deuces. See you, Mr.
Stand up in it, Charles. Stand up in it.
And then somebody referenced you yesterday about that monkey. Grandma got that monkey.
Monkey. Hey, I was very proud that we made it through that whole segment the last time I was on and talking about doing it. And I didn't bring up the monkey.
And somebody brought it up for you yesterday.
I brought it up recently though, because we were talking about the Gorilla Glue lady, and that the fact that she's pregnant with her 6th child.
Yes,
and I said she needs some monkey glue. Close that thing.
Something needs to be closed down. You are right about that. Let me ask anybody who's listening and watching, have you been in that situation? Because things are different. Not even just staying at your relative's house, you know. On YouTube, she says that they tried to prank grandma and they got pranked.
Yeah.
So, and that's true. That's absolutely right. It's not just with having a place to stay anymore. You know, new school grandmas and grandpas, they have their lives. You can't just drop your kids off and say, oh, don't you want to spend time with your grandchildren? They're like, no, I've raised my children.
Yeah,
those days are
grandparents
gone.
are still of age to get it in, like you said, and we still active and such. Like Juanita's, her daughter's expecting at this point, so yeah, we're about to see what that's like.
Yes, she will.
And she is too.
My friend Michael Stallworth on Facebook says Millie Jackson is probably applauding you right now, Damon, and that's right.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Oh, how far along is your daughter?
1st trimester.
Oh, nice.
And I'm whispering all of a sudden because I don't know if everybody knows, and I probably just oopsed.
You Sonia Maples, let's move on. Says, where do you want to put it?
Where do you want me to put it? Oh, that's where to put it, Charles. You ain't gotta ask, Charles. You know my spot. It's only so many positions with these knees.
You got the new knees, Grandma?
Grandma didn't sound like she had her new knees.
Can't wait to get those new knees and the new hips. All right, H2 Ice says, I had to tell my son to knock before he just walked into my bedroom. My baby riding on my surfboard. That's on YouTube. That's true. That is absolutely true.
And I can tell you, I hate to tell my mama's business, but as a son, you don't want to do that. You better not, because I am scarred for life. It'd be different if she was on the bottom.
Nothing traditional about mama, huh? Okay.
She ain't always been saved.
Oh, Damon. Oh, dear. Okay, so folks are sharing with us some of the things that I think that I would find it difficult for me to say no, but you just don't know what these people have been through. And oh boy, and his girlfriend look like they have been couch surfing for a minute.
And 2 weeks is never 2 weeks. And when you start with 2 weeks, that means you got a serious permanent situation. Because if you say I need to stay for the weekend or I need to stay for a couple of days and stretch it to 2 weeks, that's one thing. But if you start with a couple of weeks, that's before you know it, they get mail at your house.
Arthuretta Wilson on Facebook said, yeah, been busted. and probably have the psychiatrist bills to show for it for your children, as they
Yeah.
have
Put a
now
lock on
been.
your door, people.
Okay, that's a good point. That's absolutely, that should come with a lot of adult new homes for people that are moving in. When you come, bring a locksmith with you so we can lock these doors up and keep you out of my business. All right, Damon, thank you for joining us in our trending video and Grandma's Not Having It segment. Let's move on to what you need to know and what we have in our newsletter. For folks who don't know, I will remind you every day that we put out a newsletter Monday through Friday called What You Need to Know. And it is a lot of the information that we think the African American community would like to and should hear about. And we talk about just all of the business that goes on with our community. And as you know, we're talking about these shootings that have taken place recently. The Chauvin trial has been our top trending story for the last 11 days now. This was the defense is now up and presenting their case in the Derek Chauvin case. But to get back to the newsletter, if you'd like to participate and subscribe to our newsletter, it's absolutely free. Please go to sybilwilkes.com. Derek Chauvin's trial continued yesterday and today, rather. Yesterday, his brother, as the prosecution was wrapping up their case, his brother Philonis took the stand. And this is a part of the situation where they try to give a more complete and fuller picture of the victim, and to let you know the value of his life. And Philonis Floyd talked about his big brother, George Floyd, on the stand yesterday, and with tears, as you might expect. There was a picture that it was especially touching for him, and that was a picture of George Floyd and their late mother. And so, he said he missed them both, and he talked about what a mama's boy he was. And even when he wasn't able to get home for his mother's, she was very ill, at the funeral, they said they just could not pull him away from his mother, and how he was just kissing her and wanting and begging for her not to go. Philonis Floyd is a very brave man. He has been the voice for this family for the most part over the last almost 1 year since the murder of his brother. And he just talked with great love and reverence for the kind of man that his brother was, and how people in the neighborhood just really respected him growing up in the Third Ward of Houston. And it was very touching, as they were giving, as I said, a more complete picture, not just the man who was killed on the streets of Minneapolis and killed by this policeman. So now, Damon, today the prosecution rested and the defense started, and now they're going back to, was this real a situation of or out of context, or out of the bounds of regulations for the police department, and the way that he was treated. And so this defense, they, all they have to do is pick one person, Damon. All they have to do is get one juror to sway them in their direction, and it's a wrap.
And that's tough. But I mean, even with the witnesses that the prosecution brought, the police lieutenants and others who said that no, this was not a proper situation. Mm-hmm. I mean, there should be no way that, unless it's a racist agenda on that jury, there should be no way that anybody doesn't see, after seeing the video, seeing it live, the presented case, and the fact that the man is gone. They need to go ahead and find these guys guilty. This should be quick, to be honest.
Yeah, and that's what the judge said today. He expects them to finish up on Friday, or maybe even sooner, maybe Thursday, and have an off day on Friday, and then start their final defense and press and statements by next Monday. And that's, I
mean, how long does it take for a lawyer to say, "I got nothing"?
Well, you know what, Damon, that's really funny, because it seems like that's what people were saying today, because the defense witnesses were not really, I didn't get the sense that of what I saw, that they were really holding the defense up and giving them some leverage, something to work with, including the young woman that was in the car with George Floyd when the police took him out. And she was talking about what a great mood he was in. He was sleepy, but he was happy. He wasn't experiencing any kind of health challenges or anything like that. And so once again, like, that's what the defense seemingly is saying. We're going to try, but really, I don't think we have anything here, ladies and gentlemen. But if we can just put enough doubt in one person's mind, then we will have something.
All right.
Will Smith is making noise in the state of Georgia. They're pulling out of Georgia. Will Smith and director Antoine Fuqua announced that they are pulling their upcoming film production, which I think is interesting, called Emancipation, out of Georgia because of the voting laws that were passed not too long ago. And this is a part of the Hollywood move out of Georgia. Will said in a statement with Fuqua in a joint statement, "We cannot in good conscience provide economic support to a government that enacts regressive voting laws that are designed to restrict voter access." And this is big because it's not only these big names of Antoine Fuqua, who is a big time director, and of course Will Smith is Mr. Hollywood, but it's also a movie that's produced by Apple Studios. So you're talking about, three major powers there in this one production. But also a part of this, Damon, they had a Zoom call on Saturday led by business leaders Ken Chenault and Ken Frazier, and leaders from a number of companies, including executives from Delta, American, United, Starbucks, Target, LinkedIn, the Atlanta Falcons football team, and others, talking about ways to show their opposition to the laws and support broader ballot access. And on the call also was the son of Mr. Fox Television, James Murdoch, son of Rupert, and the former chief executive of 21st Century Fox. And they are talking about stopping donations to the politicians who are endorsing the controversial bills and putting the brakes on relocating to states that pass the restrictive voting laws.
Well, that's where it'll be more effective, when they start taking the donations from the politicians. That's the lobbyists in that situation. That's where it'll be effective. I think I'm kind of torn with the Will Smith situation, because in Atlanta, when you go on those sets, it's a lot of Black people working. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of Black dollars being made on these situations. And with a movie like Emancipation, I'm assuming it's a pretty big Black cast as well.
Right.
But when you're doing a freedom movie, you might as well flex your freedom muscle. So it's tricky. Hopefully this gets resolved and they'll wake up. As the dollars go away, the compassion will come back.
Mm-hmm. Right. Let us hope. And the same thing with taking the All-Star game out of Atlanta, because they're saying the people that are really going to be affected are those that are working the stands and all of the people who are giving up getting the hotels and the travel and leisure industry. A lot of Black and brown people are affected by that as well, and they will lose up to $100 million, I think they said, for Cobb County with the loss of this. Yeah.
That should have done it to begin with, right there. But it's baseball, and so.
Yes.
If it was the NBA All-Star game, I'd be more concerned about how many Black dollars are lost. But it's MLB, so that's a little less of a blow, I would think.
Yeah. But the beer man is usually a brother with some strong shoulders and all of that now. So. I don't know what the parking situation is like it used to be, growing up, where people would, people would be able to park in your yard or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, the hustle lots.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. So we talked about the Johnson & Johnson vaccine and putting a pause on it and how this has affected women. But also in this coronavirus death statistic, according to analysis published in an internal medicine journal, Black women in the U.S. are dying from coronavirus at a higher rate than any other ethnic group, with the exception of Black men. Black men, Black women are dying at a higher rate than anyone else, or at higher rates. The death rates for African American women are 3 times that of white and Asian men. And that is enough. It's based on a number of things. Of course, we can talk about genetics and what have you. But it is a frightening statistic when you think about people who are dying, Black women and Black men who are dying from this. and then how, what kind of effects they are feeling or reactions that they're getting to the vaccines. It's like, you're damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Yeah. I don't know what the first Negro did to God, but but we've been paying for it ever since. Whoever that Negro was, it must have been, maybe Adam must have been the black guy that the guy said, you know what, for the rest of the eternity, you Negroes gonna have it hard, because that's a darn shame that it affects us in something, and that it also makes it scary for them to put emphasis on it, because as it affects less white people, then there's less urgency. Once they figure out, well, we're just getting a cough and the black people are dying, who's to say down the line how much research and effort to be put into it? Yeah. So that's the scary part. But I still want to know who that first Negro was.
I'm with you. I am absolutely with you, because the generations and generations now, 2,000 plus years of us paying the price for, our people paying the price for so much of this craziness is more than a notion. It is just more than a notion. So we talked about the situation in Brooklyn Center, Minneapolis, Minnesota area, and this young man, Daunte, and his parents were on Good Morning America today, and his aunt was also interviewed. And it was heartbreaking, Damon, because, they're calling this an accidental discharge of weapon. And the aunt said, spilling a glass of milk is an accident.
Exactly.
This, you don't call an accident. You call it what it is. It was murder.
Yeah, that's a negligible act. It's not an accidental act, like a oops. This wasn't a oops. You took somebody's life in a panic, and you're trained, and you're 26 years in. This is so frustrating, especially when you think about why he was stopped. You're just going about your business. Yeah, it's a pandemic. A lot of people plates expired. A lot of people had extended the deadline to get your plates renewed. Right. And economically, people ain't got it, but you still got to get where you're going. You still got to go to the grocery store. You still got to go get milk. So yeah, it's so frustrating. As a parent, I couldn't imagine losing my son in that manner. And I hate to even speak that into existence in any kind of form or fashion, because my son was assaulted by the police this past summer as well. And so, and then you feel so helpless, because they are protected by the blue shield. It gets me really. All of us have to be feeling this frustration, and it's become so regular that we're almost desensitized to it, and that's the real unfortunate thing, that it's so much almost the norm.
And Damon, I was telling Huggy and Chris yesterday that even in the mainstream news, they were reporting it as another black man has been killed by police. So when mainstream, and I don't know who is in their newsroom, but when they are putting it out there on the air, another black man, and they're recognizing it by putting it on their air like that. And the conversations continue, like what you're saying. How much longer can we put up with this? How, what needs to be done? It's not enough for the Congressional Black Caucus to meet with the president today and talk about passing the George Floyd Policing Act. That's a good thing, but there has to be things from top down in terms of changes amongst all police departments. And if they have not considered this, especially in the next suburb over from Minneapolis, if they had not made any changes in their police department and the way that they approach people and the way they conduct themselves, who is doing it as all of these cases are happening?
Yeah, I mean, I think the punitive aspect of it for officers has to be a deterrent. And if you feel like you can get away with, or if you're really concerned about losing your job, losing your badge, losing your freedom whenever you pull that gun out, then maybe you'll think twice about it. And I mean, I understand that there's some violent criminals out here too. So you have to look at and I hate to be the advocate in that situation and to say, well, what's the policeman's life like? But they see us one way and they approach us one way, and it escalates based on that. It's just that simple. No white person has probably in history has been shot and killed for having air fresheners dangling from their mirror by the police officers. Like
how ridiculous, right? Yeah. And how many white people, get stopped for dark tinted windows.
Right.
And this kid, going to a car wash before they go and visit his brother or whatever,
Or the fully dressed Army veteran in fatigues.
Come on.
Yeah. It's just ridiculous.
And I just think that's really interesting, Damon, when you talk about the lieutenant in Virginia, how angry they were with the disrespect of our military and our flag over the last couple of years, and the way this policeman has disrespected our military and the flag as he's pulling him out with the flag that is attached to his shoulder, right? And
as he knows, as he's being told, I'm active duty, I'm serving my country, blah, blah, blah. He says, so am I. So you should be able to take an order then. That's your reaction. That should have de-escalated the situation right there. Even if you don't give a person a pass, because if that was a white guy, they basically would have said, oh, well, thank you for your service. Can you just cooperate? Not, damn it, now you really should get out. It's the way they view our skin color and how they treat us. What's the next topic? Because I have no words.
And Shanta Brown says that they see black and fear kicks in, so they respond. Then they need to work on their response of us. You're absolutely right, Shanta, but they need to. Go ahead. You got one more? I believe it was too soon for Dante's parents to be doing interviews. I watched Good Morning America this morning, and as much as I am a fan of Robin Roberts, she was going in too hard. I felt sorry for the parents. That's interesting, Tia, because, and I think Tia was on YouTube, I think that is when they come at you and you wanting to tell your side of the story and get it out there, it's hard to say. And especially if Robin Roberts is the one that called them, asking them, let me be the one to help you put your story out there. Cherry Zen on YouTube says that she agrees they needed to grieve and journalists can wait.
Well, not necessarily. You cannot tell what your reaction would be if that was your child and you were outraged and you have an opportunity to express your voice and make your point. I didn't see the interview, but I know you need to vent that somewhere because you're angry and you want people to know right away. You don't want this swept under the rug. You don't want them to have their narrative out before you, because they can immediately slander your son. Immediately they're going to bring out his former criminal record, all that. So you need to be there to speak for him. And maybe this is a form of grief. So for those people to say that, I disagree. I think it's a matter of choice for the people that are in that circumstance. And you never know what you would do if it was your kid.
Azaria is back with us and says on Facebook that she disagrees. Robin gave them a platform in order to speak. And sometimes, Damon, that's why you will have a family representative to be the one who has a little bit, not that this is a good thing, but has a little bit of distance and yet has the perspective of the family and is able to speak on their behalf until they, feel a little bit more comfortable and the grief has set in, but they are still able to talk about it, give them a moment.
But if you lose a child, you're never going to recover from that. So there is no timeline.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So 100%. 100%. And the only thing we can do is continue to pray that for these people. And Mrs. Davidson on Facebook said the mom kept saying she didn't want her son forgotten or the incident swept under the rug.
Yep.
Well, I got to tell you, Mrs. Wright, that's not going to happen. Your son's situation is not going to be swept under the rug. Tiffany says, I will just say Ben Crump can't represent all the families. And that's true. That's absolutely true. Poor Ben. And I keep talking with him and we correspond and I, wanting him to come on the show at some point, David, he's like, I want to do it, but he can't, from going from case to case and all of his big network appearances, it's hard to, but he said, I can't do this for everybody, but I want, because he has this heart for it and he has shown that, he can work well with these families, he has to keep doing it. And sometimes you just can't say no.
And that's a clear description of how crazy it is that his calendar is so full with these cases that he can't even get to them
He
all.
he just crossed the street from Minneapolis to go to Brooklyn Center, you know. So it's time for our question of the day. Do we have the video here? Damon, this is in reference to Kirk Franklin's a loving contribution to the conversation about DMX.
Like many of you, I've been so touched watching a lot of these videos be reposted of DMX praying. Man, I love it because they're so real and so pure and grungy. And even at times he'll say that I'm new to this. I don't know how to do this. And they're so free of churchisms. And I think it's beautiful because unfortunately, we've made many of you think that you've got to be pretty before you can present it. And that's not what Jesus died for. Jesus died for the dirt that you keep trying to clean. It's almost like my mother-in-law. Sometimes she'll clean her house before the housekeeper comes because she thinks it's got to be perfect before the people come clean it. If you can do it, then you don't need Jesus. Jesus came for the dirt. Let him into every room. God bless DMX.
So this brings about another question, because Kirk has been in the news recently, and so people are having, it's kind of split down the middle. People are saying, is it too soon for Kirk to come out and to speak about DMX when he's got situations at home? But and other people are saying, you know, no, he deserves to speak about DMX and all of that himself. So the question is he still canceled? And how is Kirk canceled? Is he still canceled? And how long do we cancel people in our cancel culture? And how many times can I say cancel in one short break?
Well, let's start with they need to cancel the cleaning lady. Obviously, if she cleaning the house before they come, let's start with that. Cancel that bill. And then we can talk about Kirk. Because if you go clean up before the cleaning lady get here, mama, I'm not paying the cleaning lady. So let's cancel her. But secondly, you know, in our community, we're such a forgiving people. The only people we don't forgive and uncancel is villains in movies. Because people still hate Danny Glover. People still hate Danny Glover for being Mr. I don't give a damn what. He can play God and Jesus in a movie. He's still gonna be Mr.
Okay.
But we as a people, we forgive our people quickly. I mean, the R. Kelly situation is a clear example. He was canceled early on that first rise, and then he made more music, and the Pied Piper led us right back into the disco, into the places where his music was playing, and we were singing his songs. Even when I mean, to be honest, in our communities and our dark little secrets, when there's sexual predators amongst the family, you know, they have that pedophile uncle and all that, we turn the other cheek and we look the other way. So for Kirk to be cussing out his kid, we already know he wasn't canceled in a lot of households already. Right. Yeah. Right. And who better to speak about the dirt than somebody with dirt on them?
Okay. Come on, please, Brother David.
Yeah, you can't be at the white party talking about dirt. You gotta be the dirty dude talking about the dirt. Forgive the dirt, because Jesus wants to see you in your dirtiest form. Trust me when I tell you, it's Kirk Franklin. I'm a little dusty right now as we speak.
How dusty are you?
I'm so dusty that Jesus had to sneeze when he sleeped. I set off his allergies with my dust.
How crazy is it? We're talking about Jesus having allergies. So let's talk a little bit about DMX, and because his family is warning of scams. Quickly, they said there have been rumors following his passing that they'd like to clear up. They say that no one has bought his masters. You know, they were talking about perhaps Swiss Beats or somebody had bought his masters. or someone had.
The
Additionally, they're
Carters,
not.
Jay-Z,
Yeah,
yeah,
Jay-Z and
Beyonce.
Beyonce.
Yeah.
They said they're not selling any merchandise or raising money for his funeral. If anyone is requesting money for his funeral, please be aware the person is a scammer, and they are going to keep the public posted on the funeral and memorial service arrangements. So, of course, this is after his death on Friday, and as we are wont to do, and I'm not including myself in this, but there's always going to be some sort of scam and rumors surrounding a person of note's death. But it's just
and if you put up a GoFundMe for DMX's funeral and try to capitalize off that man's death, you should also take the money you get and buy some of them Nas X Devil shoes. As soon as you put them on, they should drag your ass to hell. That's what you do. You take that money, buy them devil shoes, and put them on and let them shoes drag your ass straight to hell. Because that is the most despicable thing you can do, is to try to capitalize off grief and death.
How low is that, Damon? How much lower can one get?
The only people that should be doing some type of GoFundMe based on DMX are the people that he used to rob with his dogs. I don't know if you know that story, but he used to be a stick-up man.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, please.
And he would use his pit bulls to rob people. So it's not like it's 3 people in the world that ever did that. So you got robbed by DMX back in the day if you got robbed by a dude with a dog. Even if he had on a mask, it was deep. Those are the only people that are eligible to get some proceeds from his loss. Period.
Yeah, I agree. It's just so very sad. But okay, so it's good to know that as a people, we don't hold on to those things for very long. And as you mentioned, with Kirk, he was never canceled in the first place, because there were a lot of parents, a lot of families going, there was nothing wrong with what he said to that boy. And as a grown man, you shouldn't have to have that situation anyway. It is time, and we are already in entertainment mode, but it is time for us to talk about entertainment. And one of these stories, let's start with the Bobby Brown story. He says about his battles with alcohol. He said he started losing his bodily functions. My body started shutting down because I was drinking that much. This is what he told Jada Smith at the Red Table Talk that airs tomorrow. We have just a picture of him. Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh. Okay. So that's him now. That's from the Table Talk conversation. In this conversation, which will air tomorrow, he talks about his alcoholism and the effects that drinking previously had on him. He said, because of alcohol, I started losing bodily functions. As I said, my body started shutting down because of the alcohol. My body was giving out on me. Even with alcohol, I got to the point where I needed it. He was addicted. He said drinking liquor became his crutch, and I wasn't getting drunk anymore. I wasn't getting a little tipsy anymore. I needed it to wake up. I needed it to stop the shakes, to function on a day-to-day basis. It was not recreational. It was what he needed to live, he said. And I don't know if people understand that, but people who have been through addictions obviously can sympathize with him, where you needed to wake up, you needed to bring you up, to bring you down, to mellow you out. But that's what addiction does. And then to admit that, it was affecting your bodily functions, you can only imagine what that looked like. And just prayers out to him for getting some help.
And it's also, if anybody deserves to be able to take a drink, it's Bobby Brown, with all the things he's been through. It's unfortunate that alcohol has reached that level in his life where it really has a physical effect on his body. But I have nothing but love and compassion for that brother. Actually worked with him many times and met him a few times as well, and his brother and all of those guys. It's really sad what Bobby has been through. So I hope he makes it through this situation. And it's good to hear him at least, admitting and dealing with it and facing the fact, because, and you never know, because anybody that drinks, well, how do you get to that point drinking? Right. You know what I mean? But that's addiction. You never know. It's like somebody's that's sprung on porn. You're like, how many more titties you need to see before you put the phone down? But that's how it affects people, mental. So, Yeah, we are just fortunate. If
Um,
you're not hooked on something in life, you are a very fortunate person. Some of us is sugar, some of us is food. You know, some people it's gambling, and it's
yep.
all ends up being detrimental. And it's wonder why everything that hits our pleasure points are detrimental. And that's what I go back to
Exactly.
the first Negro. What did he do to God?
And
Now
we're
all
back.
your fun is gonna be no
Yeah,
fun.
yeah, yeah. It's going to cost you your life in many cases.
Yeah, because
Absolutely.
who amongst us don't want to take a drink and see a titty? Who don't want to do that?
Well, one of them. All you got to do is look down. Um, I got more than my share. So Damon, the other part of this is that it was all around him. It was his ex-wife, it was his daughter, and now he lost his son.
Yeah,
And his son, as they have told us from the autopsy, it was an accidental overdose of cocaine, fentanyl, and alcohol. This is what happened to Bobby Brown Jr., 27
yeah.
years old. And of course, Bobby Christina was just 22. Whitney had not reached 50. And when all of this happened around him, and it's tragic, absolutely tragic that we talk about this. And I'm very sorry, but I'm glad that he got help and that he is on his. But the problem with that is that sometimes you not only when you're able to get away from this, it's also the time that you are able to you have to dismiss people in your lives because they are a part of the enabling crew that make it difficult for you to remove
And
yourself from all of
sometimes
this.
unintentionally enablers, because it's a lifestyle. So people they think a drink is harmless, but
Yeah.
like for instance, Charlie Wilson, when he battled addiction, when he came out of it, when you work with Charlie Wilson in the theater,
Mm-hmm.
no alcohol, nowhere backstage, in your dressing room, in the hallway, nowhere. That's
Yep.
the rule. And that's sometimes that's how it has to be. And if people don't understand that, then those people need to be cut out because with this case, it's obviously a case of life or death.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly
Yep.
right. And it is Bobby Brown. Okay, so here is a story of Hank Azaria. Do you know him? He's an actor.
Yep.
He's one a number of voices that he does on
Yeah.
The Simpsons and what have you. He says he wants to apologize to everyone who is Indian in person for his Simpsons character Apu. He too says that as a result of his working on his alcoholism, he says this is his part of his atonement for this, and he wants to apologize to every Eastern Indian person because he thinks he's now recognized how detrimental and how offensive his character was.
Mm.
It never ceases to amaze me that when people are just getting it. I mean, over the years, we talk about the different characters on TV and especially with the cartoons and white folks portraying Black characters and the way they say and it was written and done. But I was trying to think of how long it's been since The Simpsons. They've been on for almost 30 years.
30, yeah. That
And
was that
and
was that was an original
now,
program on Fox
yeah,
late night. Yeah,
exactly. Yes.
right.
So now, I guess better late than never, Damon. But now, really?
Yeah. At this point, you shouldn't even apologize. But it's as a humorist myself,
Yes.
that Indian, I don't know the character, but what is funnier than an Indian accent? Because we're all frustrated.
Okay,
As soon
before you get in any trouble.
Okay.
Okay, all
As
right.
soon as you call any call center and that Indian voice comes, you like, God damn. You already know. I don't care. I don't care if people are sensitive out there. It's a funny accent, but I don't know how he portrayed the character. So I get it. But I mean, it's levels to it because
You're
first
right, Lisa.
First, the Jewish community has been, atoned to, and
Mm-hmm.
then it was actually they skipped us and they went to the Japanese for the internment and such, and then
Right.
they say, okay, well, we might want to talk about this slavery thing. So it's just the East Indian time because Asians have been one of the last stereotypes on television that is so bogus. It's not just the Eastern Indians, but Japanese, Chinese.
Mhm.
I don't want to say Orientals because that would be
No,
wrong.
you can't say that. No.
You know, but that Orient region, they've always had the, you know, the super accent and all that. And those people are perfectly articulate. So the world needs to come full circle, but it's just the Indians just not getting to their turn. We still got a whole lot of slavery to atone for. So I'm sorry. And it's a lot of Indians. So if he want to apologize, he got a lot of apologizing to do. It's
He's
over
got
$1
a
billion.
lot of work to do. You're right. And you can start with the phone operators. And yes, people are right. Absolutely. He
can talk to him one at a time. All he got to do is dial 800 number.
Right. And for those of us that hang up, because we know what the outcome is going to be on those conversations, you have plenty of room. You can take our space on the phone call.
Exactly.
And so you're right. Some of the people are saying that, you know, it's never too late. And if this is his time, it's his time, and he can apologize. So, okay. All right. Okay.
But I bet he's gonna keep doing that character.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how that works. I don't know if he's out of a character, because I know they get good money for those characters. Since 1986, somebody said.
Wow.
Janet Ferguson said, I work for a call center, and whenever a customer gets a foreigner, they request to speak with a U.S. rep. I didn't know you could do that. But when they say their name is Mike and ask how the weather is where we are tonight.
Right.
Damon, we do want to end on a happy note, and so we have another little fun video we like for folks, because this is really a lot of this conversation is bringing us down. So we want to end on a happier note. So take a look at this.
Okay.
Jabria, are you smart?
Yeah.
Where is Disney World?
At Applebee's.
At Applebee's?
Yes.
Disney World is at Applebee's.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
All right. Good job. Lori, are you smart?
Yes.
What does organic mean?
Organic in English.
It means English? Really? Okay, good job. That's it? All right, good job. Jaden, are you smart?
Yes.
How long would it take you to travel all around the world?
It will take you 40 days and 60 minutes.
40 days and 60 minutes.
Yes.
All right, good job. Zan, are you smart?
Yes.
How many people are there in a set of twins?
48.
48? Really? In a set of twins? Okay.
Out of the mouths of babes.
The mouths of babes.
How long would it take you to travel around the world?
I did it a lot quicker than it's going to take him to apologize to all the Indians.
Before we go, I want to thank you, Damon, and tell folks how they can reach you and get to Rhythms.
Well, I'll be at Applebee's in Disney World this weekend. Whoever parents told that child that they were at Disney World when they went to Applebee's ought to be shot.
I love it. Absolutely.
Baby, we going to Disney World and they took that baby to Applebee's. That is so bogus. This weekend I got Michael Collier at Riddle, so I'm looking forward to that. The tickets are almost sold out. Tomorrow I'm doing my Step to the Mic at Riddle's, but Saturday I'll be in Hobart, Indiana, and it's me, Leon Rogers, Just Niche, Alex Ortiz, and somebody. Yeah, it's a homecoming for us. And everything's on DamonWilliamsComedy.com.
I love it. I love you, Damon. I appreciate you. I want to leave you with Yogi's Jewels. Don't just believe in you, but act on that belief. Don't just believe in you, act on that belief. And I should, before we get out of here, I should let folks know, Jay is taping. He's working on that third season of, what's the name of that?
Assisted living.
Good. Yeah, so third season. Good for him. It is now time for us to say goodbye. We'll see you tomorrow with Myra J. and Stephen Hill. Thanks again, Damon. So appreciate it.
And I love you too. And everybody, thank you.
He can tell you about their first dance, but he can't remember my name. I'm his daughter.
Half of all black families are impacted by Alzheimer's, but we don't know why. At HSC, we are investing in a new research study to find solutions for your family. To join the research study, visit blackalzbrainstudy.com or call 817-735-2963.